All right, let's talk about upgrading the single most important piece of hardware you'll ever own, your brain. We're going to install 8 essential mental models that will totally change the way you think, solve problems, and make decisions for the better.
So here's the thing. Most of us are walking around running on these old mental shortcuts and habits that are, frankly, holding us back. They're like little bugs in our thinking that we don't even realize are there.
But the good news? The really good news is that clear thinking isn't some gift you're born with. It's a skill, and you can learn it. So think of this as your personal operating system upgrade. We're about to install a brand new suite of really powerful mental tools.
Okay, our first upgrade package is all about cutting through the noise. These first few models are designed to help you zero in on what's actually important and make sure you really truly understand the things you're working on. First up is the Pareto Principle, but you probably know it as the 80-20 rule. And this one is a total game changer because it shows that the link between what you put in and what you get out is almost never balanced. A tiny, tiny fraction of your work creates most of your results.
And when you really stop and think about this, the implication is kind of huge. It means most of what you're doing probably doesn't matter all that much. The real challenge isn't to work harder. It's to get ruthless about identifying that vital 20% and just pouring your energy into that while cutting out the rest. So, what's your 20%? Next up, a tool for deep, genuine understanding from the brilliant physicist Richard Feynman. His technique is basically a simple test. If you can't explain something in plain, simple language, you don't really get it. You've just memorized it. And here's how it works. It's so simple and effective. You pick an idea, you try to teach it, and I promise you, you will instantly find where you're leaning on jargon or where your logic gets a bit fuzzy. Those spots are your knowledge gaps. So you go back, you study those specific points, and you try again. The act of teaching forces you to be clear.
You know, every single decision you make, big or small, comes with a hidden price tag. And that price is the opportunity cost. It's the value of the road you didn't take. When you choose to do one thing, you are, at the same time, choosing not to do everything else with that time and energy.
So the whole point here is to make this trade-off on purpose, not by accident. Saying yes to your new project means you're saying no to focusing on your main one. Saying yes to that meeting is saying no to an hour of uninterrupted deep work. You have to always ask, what am I giving up? Okay, let's get into our second upgrade. This toolkit is for when things go wrong. Instead of just putting a bandage on problems, these models help you dig down to find the real issue and come up with a much better solution.
This is such a powerful technique, and it comes from Toyota's legendary manufacturing system. The idea is, when you run into a problem, you don't just stop at the first most obvious answer. You have to ask why over and over again, at least 5 times, to get past the surface-level symptoms and find the actual disease.
Just look at this example. Missing a deadline, on the surface, feels like a simple scheduling mistake. But as we keep asking why, you see how the problem shifts? It goes from a technical issue to a process issue, and boom, all the way down to a deep-seated cultural problem. The 5 whys get you to the thing you actually need to fix.
Okay, this next one is one of my favorites, and it's brilliantly counterintuitive. It's called inversion. Instead of always asking, how do I succeed, you flip the entire question on its head. You ask, what would absolutely guarantee my failure? And then you just don't do those things.
This quote from the legendary investor Charlie Munger just says it all, doesn't it? If you want to have a happy life, first, figure out everything that would guarantee a miserable one. You know, tons of debt, toxic relationships, terrible health, and then you just avoid them like the plague. It is so much easier to avoid being stupid than it is to try to be brilliant.
All right, our third upgrade is all about improving the quality of your decisions. These next tools help you think a few steps ahead and, crucially, to separate your ego from your ideas. And that leads to way better outcomes.
Look, anyone can think about the immediate result of an action. That's first-order thinking. It's easy. The real magic is in second-order thinking. That's when you ask, and then what happens? It's about seeing the entire chain reaction, the ripple effects that your decision is going to set off down the line. This example is just perfect. The first-order thought seems totally logical, right? Trade a little health for a quick productivity boost. But the second-order thought reveals the hidden trap. Skipping the gym breaks your momentum, your energy drops, and your productivity actually gets worse. Most bad decisions look pretty good at first glance.
I love this model. It's the perfect sweet spot between being wishy-washy and being stubborn and dogmatic. It says you should have a strong point of view, you should act with conviction based on what you know. But
There's one critical rule. You have to actively search for new evidence that proves you wrong.
See, most of us get stuck in one of these two failure modes. We're either too afraid to take a stand at all, or our ego gets so wrapped up in an idea that we just can't admit when we're wrong. This solution separates your identity from your ideas. The goal isn't to be right from the get-go, it's to get it right in the end. And now for our final upgrade. And this one isn't about quick fixes. This is about playing the long game. In fact, you could argue this is the single most powerful force for getting massive results over time.
We all know about compound interest when it comes to money, right? Well, this principle applies to absolutely everything. Your skills, your knowledge, your habits, even your relationships. Small, seemingly tiny improvements, when you apply them consistently day after day, they don't just add up, they multiply.
Just look at this number. It's pretty stunning, isn't it? It perfectly illustrates the explosive power of compounding. Getting just 1% better each day doesn't make you 365% better by the end of the year. No, because the growth is exponential. It makes you nearly 38 times better. It's an incredible reminder that small, consistent efforts will always beat big, heroic efforts that you only do once in a while.
So there you have it, a brand new mental operating system. And the core idea is really simple. The quality of your thinking directly leads to the quality of your results. If you want to upgrade your life, you have to start by upgrading the way you think.
And here's your newly upgraded toolkit. You've got the 80-20 principle for incredible focus, the Feynman Technique for true understanding, opportunity cost for making smarter trade-offs. Then you've got the 5 whys and inversion for powerful problem-solving, second-order thinking and strong opinions, loosely held for better decisions, and of course, compound growth for those huge long-term wins.
The only question left is, what are you going to do with it? The most important thing now is to actually take action. So which one of these 8 upgrades will you install first? The one that jumped out at you? The one that you felt you needed most? That's your starting point. Pick it, use it today, and start building that better operating system.